It's time to get your geek on with Dave Gremillion.
All right, San Antonio. Welcome here. I am Dave Gremillion, and welcome to Get Your Geek On, where we will talk Star Wars, we will talk Star Trek, DC, Marvel, video gaming, tabletop gaming, really all things that make this little world of ours into a geek world. See, geek is not really what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is very much mainstream. Geek is very much in. I was walking into the building tonight, and my program director kind of bumped into me in the hallway, and he said, hey, it's a nice shirt you got. Where'd you get that shirt from? It's one of my many Star Wars shirts. And I said, yeah, Target. Target, Walmart, Kohl's, they're all over the place nowadays. I mean, you can get geek stuff anywhere you want. And that's because geek has truly dominated this world of ours.
And by the way, you can't see the shirt because, this is radio, but it's a depiction of the original Star Wars arcade game with the wireframes and everything. It's really, really cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I lost many a quarter to that game, but it was awesome then. It's awesome now. We'll get a picture and we'll put it up on the Facebook page. And we are here to talk about the very latest and greatest that is geek here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer and 930amtheanswer.com. If you are listening to us live on the radio, thank you very much. If you are listening via iHeartRadio, thank you very much. If you're listening streaming on 930amtheanswer.com, thank you. And if you're listening to us in the future on the podcast, thank you very much. I actually had someone post on the Facebook page that they were listening from the future. Put it on the page. That was awesome. All right, tonight we are going to talk. I have another guest confirmation. That's right, our second guest. Last week we confirmed that Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Power Ranger, was going to be a guest prior to the Alamo City Comic-Con. I have another guest confirmation, and I have a third one that I'm really close to. I'm really close, but I don't want to jinx it. I'm going to talk what's confirmed, and just not jinx anything. I'm going to talk Pokemon, but not Pokemon Go, not necessarily, but something else Pokemon related that's coming our way. San Antonio month continues. Yes, San Antonio is not only the 7th largest city in the United States, but it's also the only city in the United States to have a talk radio show on AM radio that talks geek. We are it out of the whole country. San Antonio, you got it. So San Antonio month continues. I will have Ben Apple here. He is, I'll get into him in a minute here. What else we got coming up? Let's see here. All right, I want to take a look back at 2016. I know it's August, and it's like, what are you doing? But there are no more geeky movies that are really coming out until November 4th. There are no blockbusters. There's no Marvel, no DC, no Star Wars, no Star Trek. There's nothing really big now that Suicide Squad has come and hadn't really gone yet, but it's on the way out. We don't get anything until Doctor Strange on November 4th. So I want to take a look back a little bit. Also, let's get into DC versus Marvel. I really want to get into what is going on here. Why does DC have better television? Why does Marvel have better movies? What does Marvel really have the better movies? That's something that we're going to really get into. And Jared Leto has some news, some very interesting Jared Leto news. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Okay, so with that being said, I want to go ahead and announce our guest confirmation. Last week was Amy Jo Johnson. This week, I am proud to announce that prior to the Alamo City Comic-Con coming at the end of October, we are going to have Tim Rose.
It's a trap!
Yes. No, it's not a trap. You think it's a trap, but it's not. Admiral Akbar, the man who played not the voice, but the actual person in the suit. He was also Salacious Crumb and Cy Snoodles in Return of the Jedi. Tim Rose will be here before the Alamo City Comic-Con in October. I've had him on as a guest before when this was just a lowly little podcast in my living room. This guy is hilarious. This guy has great stories about what it was like to be on set there with Harrison Ford, with Carrie Fisher. Just really tremendous stories. I've met him before, shaken hands with him before. This guy's going to be fantastic. Can't wait for that to come along. Okay, so Pokemon. Let's talk about this just briefly. I know you can't get enough Pokemon, right? Well, guess what? There is a live-action Pokemon movie coming. No, I kid you not. I'm not lying. I'm not kidding you. This is true. It's a live action Pokemon movie. I don't know where they're going to get the actual Pokemon from. If it's live action, I don't know how that's going to work, but okay. But all right, so you think this is a joke, right? Like, this is going to be some, half-assed little movie that, they're just going to laugh at and someone's just trying to capitalize on the fame. No, this is being made by Legendary Entertainment. Legendary Entertainment, for those of y'all who don't, keep up with that sort of thing, which is a lot of y'all, because let's face it, we just want to watch movies. We don't want to study them or anything. These are the guys who helped to make Warcraft, Jurassic World, Dark Knight, and Inception. These guys know movies. Okay, they really, really know what they're doing. And what's even better is they brought on two tremendous writers. They brought on Nicole Perlman, who helped to write Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor, and they're bringing on Alex Hirsch, who helped to write Galaxy Falls. Yeah, and this is coming from Entertainment Weekly. So this is serious. This is legit. Legendary Entertainment is going to make a huge deal out of this coming somewhere down the road. I mean, they're bringing heavy hitters to this. This is a big deal. This isn't something people are going to poke fun at. Well, of course they'll poke fun out of it. We will too.
Yes, that's called pokey fun.
Oh, okay. And that's the last we hear from Goose tonight. Thank you, Goose. All righty. So now that we got that little bit of news out of the way, I want to go ahead and bring on our guest tonight. He is the founder, leader, grand poobah, high muckety muck of the Alamo City Fleet Command. And the Fleet Command is a gaming group here in San Antonio, or a large gaming group here in San Antonio. Big shout out to them. They're on Facebook. Let's just go ahead and bring him on here. Mr. Ben Apple.
How's it going?
Hey, Ben. Welcome here, man.
Hey, thank you for having me here.
All righty. So, sir, how are things going out in your neck of the woods?
Oh, great. Currently in New Mexico, but can't wait to get back.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you there. I mean, New Mexico's fun, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing like San Antonio.
Yep, agreed.
So what is the Alamo City Fleet Command?
So the Alamo City Fleet Command is basically a community of gamers that play everything Star Wars Armada related, which is this is a tabletop miniature game where you get to play in the Star Wars universe. You get to have a set of ships, fleets that basically represent, like, consider like the Battle of Endor. You get to have the big capital ships and squadrons of fighters. So it's where when George Lucas made Star Wars, he was basing a lot of the dogfighting between the X-wings and the different fighters in World War II dogfighting engagements. Well, in all, the Battle of Endor was World War II naval engagements essentially, and this is basically what you're doing on a grander scale. Is that you're actually in command of the capital ships, firing shots between each other, and you're moving your pieces, trying to accomplish a mission in a game system, and it's a competitive game, and we're just basically, our group is just a group of guys that like to get together, play, and discuss strategies, tactics, and collect the miniatures and see them on the table and just geek out on it.
Now, I remember I saw y'all at Night Watch one Saturday morning, and y'all had this massive game going on. I think there were like 30 of y'all involved in a Battle of Endor recreation. There was one room of people doing dogfighting, one room of people doing the land battle where they're trying to take down the shield generator, and then like a whole nother room where people are actually trying to take down the Death Star.
Yes, we definitely got very ambitious trying to create this big. It's been always a dream to try to recreate this, and definitely is something we're going to be trying to do again in the near future. Just because we had some hiccups. It was the first time doing something like this. There's a lot of. I think overall it was a big success. A lot of people. I got a lot of positive feedback out of it. However, there are some things we want to take away from lessons learned and move on. But it was just. I honestly, when it was all happening, I just was like overwhelmed at how I can't believe we're doing something this massive, this crazy. It was a great time.
Well, now you were talking about the Armada tabletop game. Is that the only game that y'all cover?
So in the Alma City Fleet Command, yes, but when we did the Battle of Endor, there's other gaming groups that deal with Star Wars because there's other game systems. So there's like Imperial Assault, which is your ground infantry, your troops type of deal. They do skirmish-sized battles, and then there's the X-wing miniatures game, which is the more dogfighting, where it's. So think about it. If you were looking at it, like if you played Star Wars Armada with us, you would be zoomed out, looking over a huge field of capital ships and squadrons of fighters. Then you start to zoom in, and then it becomes the dogfighting, where where fighters on fighters are, just the X-wings and the TIE fighters and stuff. So it just becomes, you start to magnify it basically. So it becomes a different scale. And so what we did was combine all the three game systems on that day during that Battle of Endor, and coordinate between the different gaming groups. And so people play, the squadrons would end up becoming fighters on the X-wing game, and then on top in the Battle of Endor, it was the ships and everything else being fought out just like in the movies, So you had the three different scales, and then Imperial Assault, they were on the planet trying to take out the shield generator. So it was just one crazy thing to try to get it all combined to work out.
Now, it's one thing to talk about lightsabers and the Force in Star Wars, but Star Wars is also really known for their ships, the TIE fighters, the TIE Advance, the X-wings and B-wings, and the big capital ships, and of course the Millennium Falcon and Slave One. But if you were to pilot any one ship for real, for whatever reason, it's life size, it's right there, you can fly it around, do whatever you want, which one ship do you want?
It would probably be the T-65 X-wing, if I was actually piloting it.
Classic.
Yes. If you ask me now, the ships that I enjoy in Star Wars Armada, I've been enjoying the Assault Frigate, but there's actually an announcement of Wave 5 ships coming out, which is based off the Star Wars Rebels, a lot of the Star Wars Rebels stuff that's coming out, and they're having the Phoenix 1 coming out, and that I'm kind of excited to see, and that would be something I wouldn't mind being in there too.
Okay, now I want to entertain a question here from the Alamo City Fleet Command members. We put a question in their Facebook group, and we got quite a few interesting questions back. Like someone wants you to do a split. It's radio. I'm not sure how that would work, but okay. Someone wants to know who does your hair. I assume there's a story behind that. But the question that I want to ask, this comes from Jennifer Flores. She wants you to rank all 7 Star Wars favorites. All 7 Star Wars movies from favorite to least favorite.
All right, so I would say Episode 6 was probably my favorite. So Return of the Jedi, and then it would be 4, 5, and 7. So
liking
1, 2,
this
and
so
3,
far. I'm loving this so far.
So what's that?
I said I'm loving this so far. You named all the original trilogy movies first.
Yes, I did enjoy 7, but I'm hoping. I'm actually more excited for Rogue One, to be honest with you. I just like it's the purity of the original type stuff that you grew up with. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so you identified with it more. Obviously, 1, 2, and 3, we all. As Star Wars fans, just horrible acting, horrible directing. It's like, what? Are you serious? Did like the Clone Wars. So the Clone Wars cartoon is actually not a bad anime overall. But it helps redeem it a little bit. But still, like I said, I'm enjoying Star Wars Rebels all the more because of the Clone Wars, because there's some characters that kind of overlay into it, and it becomes fun to watch.
Yeah, now, games like the X-Wing miniature and Armada, they've been called boring and they've been called slow. What's your response to those types of criticisms?
Well, anyone who's playing it is not. That's probably the last criticism you make. So when I'm in I can maybe see if you're looking at it from the outside and you're seeing it for the first time and you don't know a thing that's going on, then sure, it just seems like it's long and boring, and you're not. It's too much thinking, and you just kind of dismiss it. But if anything, I get a lot. I think one of the reasons actually with Star Wars Armada and even X-Wing is the success is one of the gaming stores we play at is in the middle of a movie theater, and so we'll be setting up on a table and people come out of the theater. Maybe they get done watching Star Wars or whatever, and they see these models on the table, and it gets them. They tune in all of a sudden. They're about to go out the door, and they check right, and then they all of a sudden make a 90-degree turn, and they're watching our games. And I don't see there's a slowness factor in our games, because when you're playing, you're constantly trying to make. For me, I'm always making calculations in my head constantly what my next move is, looking at my opponent, seeing what he's doing, and just trying to figure out how this game's going to, because it's a challenge, it's fun, and it requires thinking. So, if you're not into the strategy stuff, you probably won't be into this game or these miniature games. But it's also a social event because it gets you out from behind your keyboard or a video game or whatever, and you're actually at a location with real people around you, and you're with people who have to share the same kind of interests. As far as obviously, we all like Star Wars, so we like to nerd it up with Star Wars and talk, and also some trash talking and just good old banter. And honestly, it's funny because like one of our big casual gaming nights is Wednesday night at Alien Worlds West Lakes, and we'll get 10 people. There's only 3 tables, but we'll get 10 people to come over, and most of them are just there just to hang out with each other now at this point. It's become a camaraderie thing. It's become a social event, and so it's become much more than just playing a game or competitive game. It's become just something fun to do and hang out with people that you have a common interest with.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
That was my question for you now was going to be, where can people find the Alamo City Fleet Command, and what kind of events do y'all have coming up?
So the events, well, right now we're going to have, there's a tournament scheduled on September 10th at Magic Bean. Now, if you want to really get into, get privy to our events on a regular basis, you can actually not Google, but search on the Facebook page, Alamo City Fleet Command. And that just as it sounds, Alamo City Fleet Command. Now it's a closed group, but if you ask to join, I pretty much invite everybody who's got any remote interest into it, and they can discuss, talk things Star Wars related, mainly Star Wars Armada related. We also have Alamo City Saber Squadron, which is the X-wing group. So if you're more into a different type of game, X-wing's a little bit faster paced because like I said, it's a smaller scale, and so there's less moving parts to it, so it goes a little bit faster, and so you might be more into that. And then of course there's the Imperial Assault group, the Alamo City Havoc Squad. So there's actually 3 gaming groups, and we all kind of try to have a good relationship with each other and promote each other, help each other out. But we also focus on our games and try to keep it on topic on our Facebook page. So, and then I believe this Sunday we have some of our Austin brethren have invited some of our group to come down to Austin to play in a tournament on Sunday. So we're looking at doing that. And as far as big major events like that Battle of Endor, well, things are in the works. So I guess just join up and we'll be communicating with the game stores. We meet up on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays as casual game nights.
Awesome.
Right,
all right. So, Ben, I want to thank you for taking the time out here to come on and talk a little bit about the world of tabletop gaming right here in San Antonio and now even in Austin. Thank you very much, sir.
Hey, well, thank you for having me, David. Appreciate it very much.
All righty. So that was Ben Apple there, Alamo City Fleet Command. Make sure to check them out on Facebook. It's sounds like, it's spelled like it sounds there. And I've seen those guys in action before, and it is fascinating. It really is. Some of these models that they do, of course, you buy them, they're store-bought, but a lot of these guys hand paint them with these little tiny paintbrushes, and some of the work they do is really immaculate. They put a lot of detail into this. Okay, so with that being said, before we continue with the rest of the show, I committed a serious faux pas here. I didn't go through my checklist. I don't know that I have everything really ready to go yet. So let me make sure that I have. Okay, I got to have something to drink because you got to wet your whistle. So I got that taken care of. And what I'm going to do next, let's see. Do I have a back scratcher? Yeah, I've got that. That's covered here. And then finally, if you're going to do a geeky AM talk radio show, you got to have Old Blue right here. You got to have a lightsaber. I mean, that kind of goes without saying.
Actually, you gave deference to our guests, so that's a good thing.
Well, that's true, too. But, I like to start the show out right and make sure everything's nice, neat, and orderly and organized. It's the...
I was just trying to make you feel better.
Oh, I thank you, though. It's the obsessive-compulsive nature in me here. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit of DC news in the time that we have here. Jared Leto has been in the news for both good and bad reasons. So I just want to cue up just a little bit of DC news here, shall we?
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, save the people from the villains.
Okay, so Jared Leto has, well, let's just say he's been rather vocal in his criticism of criticism. He is, ever since Suicide Squad came out and just bombed as far as the critics are concerned, well... yeah, he's really kind of lashed out at the critics, and he's also lashed out at the director and producer for cutting so many of the Joker scenes. Well, now he's come out and said that he was tricked into playing the Joker. Yeah, I don't know how that works exactly. I know what he said. He said he was tricked into playing the Joker, but what I think he meant was, after reading some more of the quote and kind of reading into the context there, was that he thought that the Joker would be a bigger character. Maybe, not the sideshow attraction that was shown in the theatrical release. I think he was envisioning kind of a Dark Knight sort of a comeback there, sort of a bigger Joker character. Because if you think about it, the Joker on screen, let's see, what is he on screen for? He's on screen for is he on screen for more than 10 minutes? I don't think that he is. There's the flashback scene with the acid with Harley. There's the rescue attempt. There's him surrounded by all the knives and guns. We saw that in the trailer. We saw him at the end rescuing Harley.
There's the therapy session.
The therapy session and him in the car, which I thought that was kind of cool. The car itself was kind of weird, but the situation where Harley's like, "You're ruining our date night," I thought that was funny. I think that's it. I think that's all the scenes he's in. That's 6 scenes that he's in. So I think it's like a total of 10 minutes. I think he was banking on the Joker being a bigger character. And so while he wasn't tricked into playing the Joker, I mean, I'm pretty sure they told him, "Hey, we want you in the Joker for a Suicide Squad movie." And he said, "Okay." And it's not like they told him he was going to be the Penguin or something. I think that he just envisioned a larger role for the Joker. And now he finds out that, half the scenes have been cut. And he's, not a happy camper about it at all. He also admits that he hasn't seen the movie because of the negative reviews. Okay, dude, he's kind of going all George Lucas here. He's all like, well, if everybody hates it, well, then fine, I'm going to take my ball and go home. Y'all can just have your own movie. Watch your movie, dude. You worked hard on it. You put a lot of effort into it. Go watch the movie. Gracious. But if it's true that he hasn't seen the movie because of the critics, because of the negative reviews, then he really ought to listen to our show. He should listen here, because last week I gave my official review on Suicide Squad, and the official review in a nutshell, because I'm starting to run up against the break here, is it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't, the Avengers or anything, but it wasn't bad. It surely wasn't a 29% Rotten Tomatoes review type of a movie. It wasn't. I'm sure he'll see it at some point. Someone will tie him to a chair. Maybe Margaret Robbie will tie him to a chair. Wouldn't that be ironic? Make him watch it. Like Clockwork Orange, just hold his eyeballs open, his eyelids. The other little bit of Jared Leto news, and this is confirmed as of, I think, Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday that the news came out. And Jared Leto is going to be in the new Blade Runner movie. Oh, yeah. Everybody even Goose turns his head. What? Yeah, Jared Leto is confirmed. Of course, we don't know what his role is going to be or who his character is, because this is just coming out. But he will be in the new Blade Runner movie.
It better not be a revamped Decker.
I don't... Have they even said, is this a sequel? Is this a reboot, a remake? Or I'm not even 100% sure. We'll have to get our crack research team here at 9:30 a.m. the answer to check that. I could see it. The age would be right if they wanted to do a reboot, and he would have that kind of cold demeanor that Harrison Ford had in the first Blade Runner. But I don't know. The whole remake reboot thing is kind of bugging me. Ben-Hur is coming out, and they're remaking, of all movies, they're remaking Ben-Hur, and that one actually got me angry. They remake Ghostbusters, they remake this movie, they remake that movie, but remaking Ben-Hur, that's sacrilege, man. And not just because it's, a movie with Christian overtones. I mean just because it's a classic. It is a beyond classic. It'd be like remaking the Ten Commandments. It'd be like remaking Mr. Smith Goes to Washington or Casablanca. Or, there are just some movies you should not remake. And Ben-Hur should be untouchable as the Untouchables. Anybody who remakes the Untouchables, no, you don't do that. You don't do Ben-Hur. You don't do Casablanca. There are movies that you should not ever remake. And Ben-Hur is one of them. It's gonna bomb. I know it is, because it's stupid. Nobody wants that movie remade. Not one person ever said, you know what would be really cool? To remake Ben-Hur. It'd be like someone saying, you know what we ought to do? You know what everybody in America wants to see is a remake of The Wizard of Oz. That's what everyone's clamoring for. No. What are you kidding me? No, nobody wants that. Nobody asked for it. It's like nobody asked for a Ghostbusters remake, and look how well that bombed at the box office. Unlike Suicide Squad, which we'll get into later, is just rocking at the box office. All right, so coming up later, after the break here, I want to review 2016, and we're going to get into DC versus Marvel. This is going to be a big showdown. It's not quite Star Wars, prequels versus the original trilogy, but hey, DC versus Marvel is pretty big, so we'll get into that right after the break at 9:30 a.m. The Answer and 930amtheanswer.com. And we're back after the break. Thank you very much here. 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 9:30 a.m. theanswer.com. If you missed the first half of the show, don't worry, because it will be up on the podcast. The podcast goes up either late Monday or early Tuesday, depending on how things go and how things are loaded. Be sure to check out the podcast. 930amtheanswer.com is where that is housed. Don't forget to also check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/GYGO official. That's where our guest announcements are coming. That is where I put up a lot of funny memes, a lot of good stuff, a lot of interactive stuff as well. I like to, get people's opinions on things, and it's all done there on the Facebook page /GYGO official. All right, so we kind of have this, what I call the eye of the storm right now. We had a great deal of movies that came out already in 2016, and a lot of them geeky that we're going to get into here. I'm going to kind of break them down a little bit. But there's really nothing going on between now and August. Hello, we're still in August. November 4th. That's a 3-month, quarter of the year drought. That's what it is. It's not like a silent period. It's an absolute drought of geeky movies.
It gives my budget a time to recover.
Yeah. That's true. It does help the wallet out a little bit. November 4th is
saving up for Comic-Con, baby.
There we go. Because November 4th, after the Comic-Con, will be Doctor Strange. And have you seen who's coming to the Alamo City Comic-Con? I mean, they have 4 Doctor Who celebrities coming, and the VIP package. Yeah, they added John Barrowman. Oh yes, they did indeed. I'm looking. That's 4 Whovians now.
Captain Jack and Malcolm Merlin from Arrow.
Yes, and the almost Commander Riker. No, it wasn't him.
Billy Campbell.
Billy Campbell. I'm sorry. Hello. They kind of look similar. Yeah,
kind of
a little bit. But yeah, Captain Jack is coming. Billy Piper, Karen Gillan, and David Tennant. 4 Whovians are coming, and they keep announcing, like, I don't know where they're like housing these celebrity announcements, but they keep rattling them off day after day. It's fantastic. Okay, so anyway, Doctor Strange, November 4th. Oh man, if they got Benedict to come down. I mean, it wouldn't happen, of course, because the premiere, I'm sure, would be around that time, but maybe next year. Okay, November 4th is when Doctor Strange comes out. So let's take a look at the movies that have come out so far. And I want to do, I'm going to talk about the top 10 domestic box office movies. Now, I'm not talking global, because the foreign market is enormous. Speaking of foreign market, big shout out to my friends in Canada, the UK, the Philippines, and I think I picked up some guy in Germany, too, that's listening to the show. So, we're international. That's awesome. We're intercontinental. That's even better. Okay, so the first one, domestically, number 1 at the box office so far for 2016 is still Finding Dory.
I'll count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4. I like sand. Sand is squishy. Mommy, can I go play with them?
Dory?
You know what I love about that is all the memes that came out comparing Dory to Anakin Skywalker when she says, I like sand, sand is squishy. Finding Dory, I don't think this is any real surprise. The juggernaut at the box office, $477 million, domestically speaking, number 1 at the box office. It's a family movie, but it's Pixar, so it's going to be really good. And it was, and it still is, and everybody loves it. Everybody who saw it just fell in love with the movie. It's really hard to do sequels, but people who do sequels well usually work at Pixar. I don't think I'm really going out on a limb here when I say that Toy Story 2 may actually have been better than Toy Story 1. And that's rare for sequels. And so Finding Dory, your number 1 movie so far of 2016 overall. Number 2 overall is Captain America Civil War.
Hey guys, you ever seen that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony, how old is this guy?
I don't know. I didn't carbon date him. He's on the young side. Maybe the kid's onto something.
Hi now, Tony, go high.
Okay. I groaned at that. I think everybody did. That was brilliant writing. The whole, you guys see that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back? See, get it? Because Marvel's owned by Disney and Star Wars is owned by Disney. See the little connection there? Yeah. Yeah, you got that? Okay, good. That's a brilliant bit of writing. I love that.
Add to that Empire Strikes Back had probably been out about 20 years when Peter Parker was born.
God, I feel old. Okay, so that's number 2 at the box office, $407 million domestically. It opened at $179 million, and that movie also did not disappoint. There were a couple of moments where it's like, yeah, okay, Tony Stark going to go see Marissa Tomei as Aunt May, and it's like, I'm sorry, you just look really young to be Aunt May. It's just not what I pictured, but really, I mean, it's fantastic. And the way that Marvel brings in a bunch of superheroes, like they did for Avengers and Age of Ultron, and now this, it's all really well done. It all gels together really well. Ant-Man, Falcon, Black Panther. No one really steps on each other, but yet they're all memorable at the same time. Number three is Deadpool.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls. She's like Robin to my Batman, except she's old and black and blind. And I think she's in love with me.
That was another really, really good movie. $363 million. It's actually third. I kid you not. I'm looking this up right now. It is third by only $3,000.
And that was probably the only 20 seconds of the movie that didn't have a curse word.
Yeah, that and when he goes to the mansion. No, he actually cursed there too. Yeah, that's right. But I love that when he goes to the mansion and he gets Negasonic teenage Negasonic warhead, and he gets her in Colossus and says, it's weird. You have this great big house, but y'all are the only 2 X-Men I ever see. It's like the studio couldn't afford a third X-Man.
By the way, her name alone is the reason she'll never have her own book.
Yeah, that's true too. So that's your number by $3,000 at the box office. That is your number 3 movie. Number 4 was Jungle Book. Number 5 was Zootopia. Number 6, The Secret Life of Pets at $340 million. And number 7, the number 7 movie box office domestically of 2016 so far is Batman Superman.
And now you will fly to him and you will battle him to the death. Black and blue. Fight night. The greatest gladiator match in the history of the world. God versus man.
Blah, blah, blah. Jesse Eisenberg.
Day versus night.
Oh, God.
Son of Krypton versus Bat of Gotham.
Marvel versus DC. The Spurs versus the Warriors. Cowboys and the Redskins. Republicans and Democrats. God. Oh, man.
Lex Luthor versus Mark Zuckerberg.
How about we can do Lex Luthor versus Lex Luthor. How about we get Jesse Eisenberg versus Kevin Spacey? And then Gene Hackman just kills them all.
How about John Shea? What's wrong with John Shea?
I don't know. I just picked Kevin Spacey. I like Kevin Spacey. I picked him out of the top of my head.
John Shea's probably the best Luthor ever.
Yeah, we'll have that discussion another time also. But I think we can all say Jesse Eisenberg just sucked in this movie. It was awful. It was terrible. The movie itself was not horrible. Don't get me wrong, but Jesse Eisenberg was just, God. We don't need Jim Carrey in a DC movie. We've had him already in one, in Batman Forever. We don't need him in this one, and that was just, oh, God, no. Okay, your number 8 movie so far, and this is a big drop-off. Number 7 was Batman Superman at $330 million. Number 8 is $238 million, so $100 million less, but still, the number 8 movie already for 2016 is Suicide Squad.
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
I love that line. Can we play that line again? That's just awesome.
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
I could hear that like 10 times. Don't. Considering all the hype that came behind this and all the people worried that Margot Robbie was just cosplaying as Harley and not really Harley, she hit a home run. She really nailed that part. It's the same thing as Batman Superman. This movie is not horrible. Yes, it had issues. Man of Steel had issues. Batman Superman had issues. Phantom Menace had issues. Revenge of the Sith had issues. Suicide Squad had issues. They all really did. The first quarter of that movie was an absolute mess. It was a cluster. It was just, I don't know what y'all are doing here, but whatever. And then once they got going, it was okay. One of the things that bugs me, and this happens, because I wrote a few Star Wars books of my own. I got them self-published. And this bugs me because of that kind of amateurish training that I have. But the way they introduce characters in that movie drives me crazy. Katana just walks up to the plane and they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, we don't know your story. We don't know why you're not handcuffed. We don't know why you don't have a little thing in your neck. But whatever, just have a seat. We're fine. Slipknot just shows up out of nowhere and gets killed out of nowhere. And it's like, okay, whatever. I don't care. I don't know who you are. Or they're just useless, like Captain Boomerang. Just flat out useless. There was that one time when he flung a boomerang with a camera on it, and I don't know why the camera wasn't spinning with the boomerang. That was kind of weird, but I think that was the only useful thing he did. It was not, was it a 29% movie like Rotten Tomatoes said it was? No, absolutely not. Could it have been a lot better? Absolutely it could have. Think about this for a minute. Let's compare Suicide Squad. Lots of high-profile characters done by very good actors. Compare that to Captain America Civil War. Think about how well Captain America Civil War blended those characters together in fight scenes, in their banter, and how they got together. And then think about Suicide Squad. There's just no comparison. Marvel just absolutely nailed it. They did. Number 9, X-Men Apocalypse came in at $155 million. Yeah, think about the drop-off there. Batman Superman was $330, Suicide Squad was $238, and then X-Men Apocalypse $155. Kung Fu Panda 3 is rounds out the top 10 there at $143 million. Notice which one's not on the list there. Which geeky movie did not make the top 10 of 2016? That would be Star Trek Beyond, which I find fascinating because it got some great reviews, and to be honest, it was the only post-Star Trek Nemesis movie that I've really, truly enjoyed start to finish. It really have. But other than that...
So you enjoyed Nemesis start to finish?
No, since Nemesis.
I know. That means you enjoyed Nemesis
No,
start
I didn't. No. Go get a lozenge. I'll take some Chloraseptic. No, it's post-Nemesis. It's the first movie post-Nemesis.
Where's that meaning, sir?
Good gracious. I'm trying to be the consummate professional here, but every now and then, it's late on the Saturday night. What are you going to do? Okay, so with that being said, I want to move on here, and I want to talk DC versus Marvel. Oh, for those of y'all who are wondering, Ghostbusters is 15. I just thought I'd throw that out there. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is actually did worse than Ghostbusters. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, $81 million. It's the top 20. It made 20. That was nice of it. Production budget, $135 million. It made $81 million at the box office. Yeah, that's got a sting, bae. Just saying. All right, so let's go ahead and talk some DC versus Marvel.
This is that sequel to the smash hit with no equal. This one's for the true fans with Hulk hands and action figures. Flying, dynamite.
I want to leap over buildings.
I see what you did there.
To fly over the shores.
All right, so DC versus Marvel. This is a rivalry of sorts that goes back easily more than half a century. This is Spider-Man, this is Superman, this is Batman, this is Green Lantern, this is Wolverine, this is them going right at each other. And it's been this way for just, forever and ever and ever. And there are some fans who are just diehard DC fans. There are some that are diehard Marvel fans. There are some that just want good stories and just put a comic book in front of me.
There are some that Marvel has driven to DC and some that DC has driven to Marvel.
Absolutely. And I'm sure Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor had something to do with that. Sorry, I know, I'm bitter. I'll let go of that eventually. But in the past, let's say 8 years, things have really heated up because 8 years ago is when Marvel came out with the first Iron Man movie. It resurrected not only Robert Downey Jr., but it put Marvel on the map. Sure, they had some movies before then, but let's face it, Iron Man was the first of what they call Phase 1, and it was a brilliant movie that put DC on notice. Now, DC since then, I mean, they've had The Dark Knight, they had Batman Begins, they've had some DC movies, but not really with what we would call their Phase 1, which started with Man of Steel.
DC had never had a connected cinematic universe, and neither had Marvel before Iron Man.
That's correct. And now all of a sudden we have a storyline that people can follow. It reminds me a lot of the comic books. With comics, if you drop off of comics for 5 years, I'm sorry, you've missed so much. It's like, where do I even start? Where do I even begin?
And for those of you that missed the entire New 52, be grateful.
We'll get into that another time as well. But now it's... see, I watched Captain America Civil War without having watched Ant-Man. So I was like, okay, who's this guy? I get it's Paul Rudd. I mean, I saw him on Friends, so I know who he is. But and then it was all of a sudden, it was like, oh my God, he's awesome. And it made me go back and watch Ant-Man. So let's talk about what's gone on since 2008. I want to keep it from 2008 to present. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about this, going back to, Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk. And we're going to be going back to, the old Fantastic Four
Nicholas
movies.
Hammond as Spider-Man.
Yeah, there you go. God, we could go back forever. And we're not talking about cartoon shows either. We could go back to, remember the X-Men Saturday morning?
X-Men 92. Now a book for Marvel. Super Friends.
Super Friends. Oh my God.
And then you had everything from the 60s.
Batman. Which is coming back.
Yeah, you had the Superman cartoon, you had the Superboy cartoon, you had all the basically motion comics.
Which is
Marvel. Exactly
why. All right, we're going cutting it off here. 2008 and to present is what we're going to be talking about. Now, Marvel has tried TV shows and has not done well. They have not. You can argue all you want about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, but when it comes to television, DC really has the edge. I hear way more people talk about Arrow, The Flash, and Gotham. In fact, we're going to have, four. We're going to have 4 Gotham celebrities here in San Antonio for the Alamo City Comic Con. We're going to have, I forget the actor's name. I'm sorry. Bruce Wayne, Catwoman, the Penguin, and Alfred. Alfred, yes. The guy who was Alfred will be here also. Now, their ratings, I looked this up, and their ratings from this current season to the last season have only dropped 8 or 9%. That's really good. Yes, it's a drop, but I'm about to compare it to the Marvel series here in a second, and that'll open your eyes.
You missed 2 shows. Supergirl moving to the CW, and the producers have said that's more to help the CW than it is to help Supergirl, because Supergirl had more ratings than Flash, Arrow, and so by bringing it to the CW, it'll raise CW's profile. Also, Legends of Tomorrow, which is a spinoff of both Flash and Arrow.
True, but I just wanted to, again, off the top of my head here, just trying to keep it, again, because we get to be talking about this just forever.
All night long.
Plus, Supergirl has only had the 1 season, so, okay. Compare that to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. Now, I watched the entire first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it took me 5 episodes to figure out who the characters were. I'm sorry, it just didn't work out quite so well. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Averaged 3.4 million viewers per episode. Their drop was 23% from the latest season to the season prior. So remember, Arrow, The Flash, and Gotham dropped about 8 or 9%. Yeah, they dropped 23% at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Agent Carter got the axe. The fans, I heard, were trying to get it over to Netflix. Yeah, it looks like Peggy Carter is pretty much done. Marvel they don't have the television shows. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked out. However, at the box office, it's a different story. Now, these last 3 movies have raked in a bunch of money for DC. There's no question that Suicide Squad was a box office smash. But it's really isn't even a debate. Everyone loves Marvel movies. Everyone thinks they're more memorable. You can quote them a lot better. I mean, I'm trying to remember a quote from Man of Steel that I'm not making fun of. Like Man of Steel when General Zod says, "Heresy, destroy it." And I'm like, dude, you want to clean the peanut butter out of your mouth there before you talk? Heresy. I'm trying to remember a memorable line from Man of Steel that we don't poke fun out of. I mean, there was the line where Kevin Costner said maybe Superman should have let the kids die on the bus. But I'm really struggling. I'm serious. I'm not doing a bit here.
I will say, being as big a Superman fan as I am, I've only seen the movie one time.
I've only seen it once, and
I
love
the Blu-ray.
Superman. I have. I can't remember a line. How about Batman Superman? Give me a memorable line.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, but we're gonna make fun of that, though. Okay, how about this? Where Superman says, "The next time the bat image lights up in the sky, don't go to it." Jesse Eisenberg, when he says, "If God won't kill man, the devil will do it." No, that's not.
I failed him in life. I will not fail him in death, or something like that.
Or exactly. When you have to say "or something like that," it's not really memorable.
But Bruce's little line at Clark
tell me
Schumacher.
this: give me a memorable quote from an Iron Man movie. I mean, come on. Okay, how about I got this? The thrust at 10%, and he flies into the wall, and he yells at the robot, "I'm going to donate you to an inner city, middle school if you spray me again." That was funny. I remember that. I mean, there are so many quotable lines from Avengers. I mean, you and I remember Budapest very differently. Okay, Age of Ultron, the thing where Vision picks up the hammer, and everybody in the audience goes. There was an audible as soon as I saw that. Now, Marvel, their movies are just more memorable. DC, they've only had 3 movies lately, and they've been, I'm going to be honest here, they're mediocre at best. At best, they're mediocre. Sure, they're doing well at the box office, but come on. When it comes to memorable movies, it's just not there. And I'll tell you why. Because DC has tried to play catch-up to Marvel way too fast. Way too fast. These 3 movies probably should have been strung out over about 4 or 5 movies. Batman Superman should not have happened until we were at least 3 or 4 movies into the series. Think about this. Avengers came out in 2012. That was 4 years after Iron Man 1 and was the 6th Marvel movie. Marvel averages a production budget of $179 million per film. Whereas the DC movies are roundly condemned by the critics and, well, let's face it, some fans as well.
By the power of God, I condemn you back to hell.
But I really think that DC movies, they've just moved way too fast. They're not making simple, fun adventure stories. It's like every movie has to be this epic, world-breaking movie.
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
That's it exactly. I mean, they're so focused on the big picture. Ant-Man. What was at stake in Ant-Man? Sure, there was the possibility of world domination, but it wasn't like with Man of Steel. It wasn't like Batman, Superman, and it wasn't like Suicide Squad. It really wasn't. And they just moved way too fast to catch up to Marvel. Instead of taking time to build their own universe, they just rushed everything together so much. I wish they had taken their time. I wish they had slowed down. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to everyone's favorite part of the show, the Sarlacc Pit.
What's going on? We just got to the Sarlacc Pit.
What's that?
It's this disgusting, horrible creature that's worse than anything you could ever imagine.
Okay, now I actually don't have somebody for this one, but can you do me a favor? Can you cue up? I just want to hear that Margaret Robbie one more time, that we're bad guys.
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
That's awesome. Goose, you want to throw somebody in?
Yes, Jared Leto for not actually attending the premiere of his own movie.
Bam. That's right. He skipped the premiere. Throw him in. Oh, gracious. Matt Fickey says, Sarlacc, my dog T-Bone. He pees everywhere. So when we put diapers on him, he figured out how to wiggle out of them. Awesome. So take your dog, put him in. William Stufflebeam says, I'm throwing my stupid 3D puzzles in. They're so hard to make in 3D. Put them in.
He's the one who bought them.
That's true. That's true. Let's put him in too. Why not? All right, so I want to throw in the rains of Louisiana. Louisiana gets a 500-year storm like every 3 or 4 years. So let's go ahead and take the rain here and put them in. Let's see here. Monty Adkins says, the jackass that is too busy on their phone to go when the light turns green. Stop catching Pokemon while you drive. Put them in. Woo! Okay. Hey, look at that. We actually ended reasonably on time. I'm almost not sure what to do with myself in the last 40 seconds or so. All right. Well, special thanks to Grolix CMS and to Alamo City Comics here in San Antonio on 281 North near Brook Hollow. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook.com/GYGO official. Special shout out and Geek of the Week goes to Matt Fickey. And yes, I made sure to check his name because it's spelled F-I-C-K-E. I thought it was just Fick, but no, he says it's Fickey, so I'm going to go with that. Thanks for all that y'all do. I really appreciate it. Check us out on our podcast. Check us out anywhere and ever you want to go. Stay geeky, and don't forget to get your geek on every single day.